Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Annie 150. And we just finished Module 3, Texturing and Rendering, the Low Poly Sci-Fi Crate Part 3. Congratulations. And now we're moving. We're not quite halfway, but we're almost moving to the halfway point. We're going to be creating a low poly modular hallway assets, which is really cool. I really enjoyed teaching this assignment. This is going to be really cool that you're going to be able to create your own modular pieces. And even though we're not going to bring them into Unreal, you're going to be able to do that in the game level course, the level design course, where you're going to bring your sci-fi low poly models into Unreal and get to put together your own sci-fi hallway. You'll have to make some other modular assets for that, of course, but you're almost there. Okay, so what we're going to do in Module 4 now, I just kind of want to take you through it. This is a 4-part series, okay? So basically it takes about a month. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating a low poly sci-fi modular assets. That's going to be part 1. You're going to be creating, out of those low poly, you're going to be adding edge loops like you did before. So this is an old hat for you guys. Now that you know what you're doing, this should go a lot faster. So you're going to be modeling a high poly sci-fi modular hallway. That way we can bake all that information in. You can even add more detail to it by using a program like Mudbox. As you guys found out, that you guys can add as much detail as you'd like to your pieces. And then of course we've got Module 6, where we're going to UV map the low poly and texture the low poly with Substance Painter. And then that's all you have to do for that part. You'll have to get some screenshots from Substance Painter of all your pieces, okay? And then in Module 7 we're going to put all those modular pieces together. You're going to set dress. That's what set dressing is. You're going to put your crate in your large sci-fi crate in there. You're going to light and then render. Get it all set up and take. We're going to do a basically a daytime scene and a nighttime scene, which means that we're going to add, well, actually a mood scene. So you're going to have fully lit interior. I'm going to show you how to do that. That's very difficult to do. Fully lit interior lighting, and then we're going to do lighting that is like if you have a blackout and you have this this secondary lighting coming on from the floor. That's going to be really cool. It's going to be kind of our mood lighting. So you're going to have two types of lighting, which is really neat. So these all 4 parts work together, and so it gets harder and harder as you move forward. Okay, so Module 4 will be pretty light, and then it gets harder as we get into just more time consuming as we move forward. Okay, so just be aware of that and kind of set yourself up for that and manage your time really well. So let's go ahead and get into Module 4. Oh, one more thing is in Module 4, make sure you get your discussion post in by the 30th. Okay. And then your quiz, and that should open up on Wednesday, and everything's due on the 4th. Okay, unfortunately, I hate to do that to you guys, but the July 4th is your due date for all that stuff. And happy 4th of July to everybody. If we don't talk about that, but happy 4th of July to everybody. It just happens to fall on Sunday when we turn stuff in. Alright, so Module 4, let's take a look at what we're going to do. You guys know all this stuff. We're going to be doing a hallway. It's not going to be particularly this hallway. We got something else we're going to do. So you know all this stuff. I want you to make sure you watch Module 4 Introduction. This is what you're seeing right now. I used an old one, but I decided that I do not want to confuse anybody. And so I'm getting rid of that. You'll see something new up here. And please watch the video. It's got information to the success for you guys in this course. Weekly schedule, as you guys know, it's never changing. It stays the same. That way it doesn't confuse you. Module 4, this is part 1 of 4 parts like we discussed. Part 1 is focused on low poly modeling. So we're just focused on low poly modeling, getting those pieces looking really good. And then I want you guys to create, you're going to follow along with all the pieces, and I want you to follow along exactly. That's how I'm going to grade you. And then I'm going to let you guys go on 2 of your own original designed modular pieces. Those will be walls. Okay? I'm going to have you design 2 more, what we call variants. Okay, 2 larger pieces. Actually, you can do a smaller piece and a larger piece. We'll talk about that in just a second. So you're going to do 2 variants of the 15 that we're doing in the video, and then I want you to do 2 more, and that will be 17. Okay, so you follow the videos, you'll have 15, and then you got to do 2 on your own. You're going to create your own designs that will fit seamlessly with the other modular assets. So I want you to have fun doing that. I want you. That's the beauty. Giving that way your scenes will look like your scenes. They won't look like everybody else's. Okay, with those modular variants. Okay. The objectives you guys can read on your own, and what you're going to be learning, and then software we're using. We all know we're using Maya 2022. We all know that. You guys are still learning about the Maya user interface as you're learning how to model and texture and all that other stuff. This week, though, we are going to focus on modular design, okay, and why we use them in games. So please read this lecture and read it very carefully, because that's what your quiz is over. Okay. Again, you can use any notes, and you can have Maya open at the time while you take the quiz. The quiz is fairly easy. You get 2 tries, and just make sure that you get it done in 60 minutes, because it'll time out in 60 minutes. Okay. We talk about modular design, how the grid units are extremely important. I'll show you how to get those set up in Maya. Concept phase is basically you either go find a reference, and unfortunately with sci-fi you don't really have references except for concept art, and that's what we're going to use is concept art. So the idea is to put together, you model smaller pieces, put them together to create a larger asset. Okay. Modular building concepts, you can watch that, please. And then our assignment is that you're going to model 17 modular sci-fi assets, following the provided reference that I give you guys. It's right here. Okay. We're not going exactly by this, but you'll see that I hit most of those areas. Okay. Now, if you guys want to add more detail than what I have added in the videos, feel free to, but it needs to follow the same structure. So if you're missing something I have, then you'll be counted down for grades. If you add more than what I have, if you basically did exactly what I did and added a little more detail, hey man, I'm all for it. I'm all for that. Okay? Just remember that you can add more subtle detail with Mudbox, okay, or a program like ZBrush. Okay? So remember, you can add all these teeny little pieces, these little things in Mudbox if you want to. Okay? That's how you can add detail. As far as structure goes, you need to follow what I'm doing. Okay? That's how I'm grading you. Okay? Alright, now the 2 assets, they're not included in here. I'm just showing you the 15 that we'll go through with the video. Okay, alright, the 15. Alright, so with that, you download this image, or you can just right click over it and go save image as, or you can download it right here if you want to. Okay, how do you import a reference images? Basically, you go into the view panel, right click over or click on view and image plane, import the image into any, or you can just, if you have a dual monitor, you can just put the reference image on the right hand side or your left hand side, whichever works best for you. The videos take you through, as you guys know, as you move down, you learn more and more and more. It builds one upon another. You cannot skip the lessons. You go from lesson 1 to lesson 2 to lesson 3. If you miss something, go back and go through the video again. Take your time. You'll be making 15 assets, so it's not that it's hard work, it's just that you're going to have to take the time to go through the videos and get everything finished. Okay? Alright. Now if you want to do your floor, different, go ahead. I'm letting you do your floor. Floors really don't bother me that much. Just make sure that when you do modular systems and you duplicate it, make sure all the pieces will fit together. Okay? Now, that's something that you got to think about as far as the floor goes. And a lot of times I'll break it up with different types of things. But if you want to design your floor a little bit different, feel free to. Okay? But the walls and the ceilings need to be the same as mine. You can deviate a little bit in the ceiling, but the side panels are really important that you get those exactly like what I did in the video. Okay? Again, adding more detail is fine with me if you'd like, but if you add less detail and you start missing the structure of mine, then you'll get graded off. Now then, I let you go on your own after everything is completed. Okay? For the modular design and following the grids, and then you'll create your 2 variants now on your own. Okay, you get those variants done, then you're good to go. And here's another image of just the 15. You'll add 2 more. Now the 2 variants will be like, you can remodel one of these. Okay, remodel it, or take what you did and delete things, or change it, or remodel it from scratch if you want to. But this size and this size, you'll have a smaller piece and a larger piece. Okay, so I expect those 2 on top of what we have here. Okay, over to the side. Okay. All right. So to give you kind of an example, this is image or an example that has all of the pieces in, all 17. Okay. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sidewalls, 7, 8, 9, 10 with the top, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay? Alright, so we have 17 pieces. Okay. So if you do a smaller piece, I'd rather do a larger one. So they took this one and then they created this. Okay, right? And these are the 2 extra pieces they did, which is fine. I was fine because this had a lot of detail. They put a lot of work into that. And then the door, of course. The door is what we did. You're going to have your own design with your door if you want to. Okay. So the floors, I'm not too picky about. The ceiling tiles, you need to have at least the same amount of detail. And there's not a whole lot of detail in ceiling tiles anyway. And then you've got the 2 extra variants. Okay, so this is what you'll turn into me: front perspective and then back perspective, and then front wireframe and then back wireframe. Okay, so this is exactly what I want you to turn in. Okay, now these are just the low poly again, right? So if you watch this video, it kind of goes through the whole thing. I used to have them together where you had to do the low poly and the high poly in the same. It just was too much for students to get done. So now I've divided it up to just low poly. But I still use this because it's still valid. It just doesn't have the 2 variants in it. And it tells you, yeah, you need to turn in the high poly, which you do not. It's just the low poly. So you just ignore that part. Okay, you can watch the whole thing if you want. But honestly, if you get your pieces set up like this, so you want to do the renders first. So that's why I put in here that if you start on the video at 17, it shows you how to do all the lighting. Okay, and then you get those renders looking good. So you get these renders right here, front and back. And then to do these, then you'll start at the beginning, and I take you through how to get those flipped over and moved into place, and so you can get your screenshots. Now screenshots don't involve rendering, so once you get that flipped up, you can just give me screenshots with wireframe on. Okay? Alright, so how do you turn wireframe on and off in Maya? Okay, so let me get that set up. So in Maya, basically when that comes up, you'll flip everything up and you'll get everything set up just right. And Wireframe is fairly easy to get on. It's just a little bitty little icon. I do not want you to use just the Wireframe number 4 because I don't want to see through the object. So we want Wireframe unshaded. So that's what that means. I've had a lot of students in the past give me just Wireframe. I don't count points off, but since I'm telling you now because I never really explained what I wanted, so I went back, and so basically, if you want to kind of see your, if you want to have a black background as you model and stuff, this is an easy way to do it. You can go to Windows, and you can go to let's see, Settings and Preferences, and Color Settings. And in general, under 3D views, just turn your background to black or whatever color you'd like. And you can play around with this a little bit. Okay. If you want this back to where it was, just reset defaults. Okay. Otherwise, you just turn it black. Like I like it black. It's contrasty and it makes things look a lot better. Okay. So with that said, Wireframe unshaded is this little guy right here. When you click off, there's your Wireframe unshaded. There we go. Very cool. Right. So Wireframe unshaded, that's as easy. That gets really easy. If you want the gray background so you can see it a little bit better, I don't know. I kind of like this. So Windows, you can go back into your settings, preferences, color settings, and reset it if you want to. And this is what it looks like. Okay. All right. Either way, I'll take either with the gray background or the black. But when I model, I like it to be black background. Okay. With that said, let's go ahead. I'm going to keep this open. Alright, so that's basically it, guys. Like I said, it's just time consuming, so don't think it's going to be super fast and easy to do the low poly modeling. There's a lot involved in this. But you definitely do not have to do the high poly modeling. But some of you may want to get started on that after you get your low poly modeling, because that is a lot of work to put all those edge loops in there to make it look really good. And that's what we're going to want to do, and bring it into either, you can bring it into Mudbox. I did not do that. If you would like to add more detail, you can surely do that, but you have to do exactly what you did with the crate, and that's a lot of work where you have to kind of get those divisions. Like right here, you just could not bring that in. You'd have to add an edge loop here, and here. So if you try to put detail here without adding edge loops here, consistent edge loops, you're not going to have enough detail in here for the stencil to support that area here. This for sure would not work at all. You'd have to subdivide this into squares all the way down. And you know, that's a lot of work. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be doing a lot of work. I'm just saying that just realize that if you do want to add details to something like this, like the really fine details, small details, you will have to add those edge loops like I did with the crate, and they need to be spaced apart evenly, okay, all the way across and across here. Okay, what that does is it gives you, when you do smooth it and bring it into Mudbox, it gives you a better foundation for sculpting. Okay, especially something like this. This has to be subdivided in a a lot smaller squares, and then your mesh has to be pretty dense. Okay. Right. I'm not asking you to do that. That's something you can do on your own. On top of module, I think that would be module 5, where we're doing the high poly version. But that's really up to you how you want to add all that detail. But anyway, right now we're just doing low poly. So good luck this week, have fun, and I'll see you guys next week in module 5.